Welcome. I'm Ditto, and Happy New Year! We did it! We're in 2026! Today I'm going to be redrawing the first ever piece that this channel saw 4 years ago to the day. I thought about reacting to my first video with you guys, but hey guys, and Happy New Year. I decided we'd just leave that in the past. I will say though, when I started this channel, I was just starting out with digital art. This piece was one of the first digital pieces I ever made, so it's kind of amazing to see how far I've come since then. If you're thinking about picking up a new medium or trying out art for the first time, I highly encourage that. Even if you just want to write like a short story or a poem, I think everybody should try something creative like that. Creative outlets are something I think everybody should try to use. I think it's something that's just very helpful to like everyone. No matter what tools are in your toolbox, I think everyone should try to have a creative outlet. So I struggled with this piece a lot, and I know I say that every single year, but it's true. I struggled especially with the leg that's like up as she's cheering. Yeah, that was hard. That was tough. I couldn't find many references that were like good, so I was like, okay, I'm just kind of gonna wing it, and that is really my motto for this entire piece, which I will talk more about later. Also, I've noticed that my art style has kind of changed this year. For a few years, I feel like my style was decently the same. I just got better at like anatomy and stuff, but this year I feel like it started getting softer and softer and softer, and now we're here, which I really like how my style looks right now, but it's definitely something that when I looked at my social medias, I was like, whoa. My style has changed. I definitely want to try out new things in 2026 though, so if you happen to have any fun challenge ideas, let me know in the comments below. I would really appreciate it. And let me know what kind of videos you want to see, because I don't know, like I'm feeling like doing something a little bit different. Maybe seeing if I can collab with more people. I had a lot of fun with all the collabs I did this year. I didn't do that many, but I loved all of them. I would love to do like maybe something again with magma, which is what I used for the Devils versus Angels video, where like we could all draw on the same canvas. I think that would be quite fun. Yeah, so let me know if you have any ideas or something that you want to see, because like I don't know, there are a lot of art channels that I really love to watch, and I really just want to bring like this cozy art vibe back, and because I really miss that. You know, there are still channels that post like that, but they're harder to find, I've noticed. And I hope you guys have fun watching, or maybe you'll learn something new about art, or maybe you will already know all of it and just draw along and be here for the vibes. That would be awesome as well. I had a lot of fun drawing the pom-poms. At first I kind of thought they were going to look like spaghetti. I don't know why. I was just like, this kind of looks like pasta. But it ended up okay once I colored it. So I also struggled quite a bit with the outfit. The only reference for the clothes that I had was the original, and then a sketch I made like a couple months after that. So yeah, that didn't stay the same. I definitely like the new one a lot better. I don't know that much about these uniforms in particular though. I feel like it could still be better, and I don't know that much about cheerleaders or their uniforms. I really liked the pleated skirt in the original, but I just don't think that it really fits with the vibe. Like, I don't know, I don't think it makes sense, you know? Yeah, so I don't know. I have no idea, but let me know what you think, because I'm not really sold on the outfit design, but it also doesn't really matter, because even though Becky is kind of a main character, because she's like the main antagonist, it doesn't really matter that much what the design of the outfit is. Even though I like to know. I really want to make a piece where it's like Becky and her main clique, and they're all like hanging out after cheer practice. I think that would be really cool, but I've wanted to do that for years, but I just have not gotten around to it. Becky actually used to be my absolute favorite OC. She was like my comfort OC. She would be like who I would draw every time I had art block. Like for years, she was my ride or die. And you would think that it would be Lucy or Kara, because I draw them a lot, but nope, it was Becky. Every time I had art block, I drew Becky, and it's not really like that anymore. But I still really like her character, and I especially love the dynamic between Becky and Kara, because they hate each other. They hate each other, but they also both recognize, like, oh, we're a little bit similar, aren't we? Like, we're both not the best people. It's just that one of them is kind of more honest with everybody about that, whereas Becky is like a little bit less brutally honest about that, and she doesn't have quite the anger issues that Kara does. Honestly, even though Becky is literally a horrible person, if you ever read the novel, you'll know. You'll be like, wow, she's horrible. But she's not just horrible. One of my favorite scenes in the Daisy Deaths is a scene between Becky and Kara, but it's one of the only scenes where Becky is instead like sitting there very genuine and really like taking off that mask, because she is a very complex character and she kind of has this motto where it's rather be the hunter than the prey, so rather be the bully than the bullied, and that is like Becky's motto, and she's very like tough. One of my favorite scenes is just her sitting there and being like, you know what, girl, I'm here for you. I'm here for you, even though I hate your guts and you hate my guts. So yeah, I really love Becky. Even though she's not the same comfort OC as she was to me a few years ago, I still have a place for her in my heart. So I drew up some sketches of quarter werewolves because I was going to talk about them for a little bit. Quarter werewolves, lichens, aka werewolves, and yeah, so I'm going to talk about that for a few minutes if I can. So here are the sketches. This is the one of the lichen, and lichens are kind of like your, I don't know, I guess average werewolf creature. Like you got the full moon thing that happens, except in the Daisy Deaths universe it's a little bit different. The full moon doesn't really make them turn into these mindless beasts. It more so just kind of like makes them sick, gives them headaches, makes them feel awful, and they have more of a chance to like transform into this beast. So there's that, but how they actually kind of like would transform into this mindless creature that just has like bloodlust and is like barely recognizing people is more to do with their emotions and like how they feel. So if they have a really bad headache, then they are more likely to do something bad. I think it's going to be tied to specific emotions for specific people, depending on how they're cursed and why they're cursed. I will get to that in the prequel or a future novel, because it really doesn't come into play at a high school where there are no lichens and where people don't even think lichens exist, because they are not in a city, but they're in a pretty compact area where monsters and curses aren't really a huge belief, where that's more of like a rural thing. In this universe, that is more of a belief system held by the rural communities. So yeah, that's lichens. And quarter werewolves can look like Becky, they can look more human, they can look more werewolf. And what a quarter werewolf is just a descendant of a lichen. And a quarter werewolf is not inherently cursed. It's something that tells people who know that, like, hey, this family was cursed for one reason or another. At some point, something happened to this family. And that's kind of what, like, it is. So she's not really cursed. And I know that kind of sounds like complicated and convoluted. She's mostly human, actually, which is why it's called quarter werewolf, because it's, you know, it's not mostly human. There are people who have quarter werewolf genes, like it's in their genetics, but it doesn't really show. But some of them would have like the nocturnal eyes, and like so they could kind of see better in the dark. Some of these people might be more affected by the moon, again, with like feeling sick, having headaches, or having like heightened emotions. So that's kind of what quarter werewolves and werewolves are in the Daisy Deaths universe. So I don't know, hopefully you guys like hearing about that. It's really kind of nerve-wracking for me to talk about like the actual lore of this universe, because I feel like maybe it just sounds silly. I think it's fun, and so I hope that some of you guys think that it's fun as well. So back to coloring for a moment. I really like how this piece turned out, but while I was coloring it, I was like really unsure about it. I was just like, this is like a lot of green, and I'm not really sure how to make the lighting mesh with this, because I really wanted this soft sunlight because it's very overcast. If you know some of the other lure, you can maybe guess why it's so overcast. Let's not point any fingers here, but we might know who is to blame for this. Anyway, well, I'm dropping a lot of lore in this video. Hope you guys were ready for that, because I was not. It's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. It's just how the video goes. This is my third time trying to record this voiceover, because I kept speaking very awkwardly. And I was like, you know, I'm just gonna keep talking. I'm just gonna keep yapping until I get something right. Yeah, I really like this soft lighting. It's not something I usually do. I usually do like more dramatic, harsh lighting that you can like really, because I find that easier, because you can really like say like, oh, okay, so this is where the shadow's going. Whereas a soft lighting, you're like, is there a little bit of shadow here? Is there a little bit of bounce light? What's going on? Where are we? So the background, I completely didn't use a reference for that. I just made it up. I was like, this is what we're doing. This is what we're going with. And so that's that. That's what I did. I think it's cute enough. I think the bleachers are wonky, but it's fine. And I would really like to get better at backgrounds this year. Looking at my art, I'm like, whoa, there's no backgrounds. So I would really, really love to continue to get better at that, which is why I was like, I'm gonna make a background even if I don't feel like looking up a reference. I'm just gonna do it. And actually, we're pretty much done. I also want to point out I really like the confetti. I think that adds so much to it. I think it's so, so cute. So thank you so much for watching and subscribing and commenting and drawing along. Literally everything. Thanks for hanging out. I hope that you've been having fun. I hope that you enjoy what happens next. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen next, but I'm gonna do my best. And I hope you all have a very happy new year. I will see you in the next one. Bye!
Cause I can't do shit right, I can't learn my lesson. I can't do shit right, take antidepressants. Illness and welfare robbed my adolescence. My friends probably hate me, can't answer